the MCU is over.
Ah.
Like this is the make or break moment for the continuation of this gargantuan monster that is Hollywood's maybe, big
golden goose.
Exactly.
Yep.
If this movie doesn't do well, I'm a
Put a fork in it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm out.
Wow, okay.
It did well, and
it did well. There you go. It's enough for Josh Beatty, but will it be enough for you?
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Let's continue our march through the week then, shall we? Would you believe it? The next thing's related to the Oscars.
Do you mean the Olympics?
I do. I just thought I'd throw in the wrong one and see if I could bait you. Yes, the Olympics. Celine Dion. Celine Dion. Now, people shocked to see. Now, I'm actually, as a side note to this, thrilled that she was able to be there because I know she's been in the headlines for a while about this stiff body syndrome that she has suffered from. I thought it was like a terminal illness. Like, I didn't think you could come back from it. But she surely has. We're going to talk a bit more about it in a moment, but if you missed the performance and you're a big Celine Dion fan, maybe you've got a boat you can stand up on the front of right now and just spread your arms, and she's not going to do that song, but it is how you appreciate Celine Dion. Here's a clip of her performing from the opening ceremony. And the crowd goes wild. Gosh, that kind of gets you right here, doesn't it? It's a beautiful story.
Honestly, and this is why you need to watch the stream, by the way, when we first mentioned this right at the top of the show, because she was included in that highlights reel, and her return, I was just like, fist pumping. Like, it is a hopeful story. It is a beautiful story. It's sad to see, and I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a massive Celine Dion fan, but you can
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
She's a great artist. And
look, I have deep-seated emotional trauma from Celine Dion's music, and I'm still thrilled to see her there.
I think you need to provide a little bit of context.
Do I? Oh, okay. So
just quickly.
All right. Those of you who go back far enough to remember the days of fifth form being a thing, I don't know, what is that now, like year 12?
Something like that. I was 15,
right?
Yeah.
So I was doing a biology exam, and the exam rooms were opposite the music block. And the music block had a bunch of, I want to say, 13, 14-year-olds. Reason, this is an all-boys school, so riddle me this, Batman. The music teacher had decided that the choir was going to learn My Heart Will Go On. So there I was trying to do a bio exam while 2 classes worth of 13 and 14-year-old boys were going, near, far, wherever. I mean, it was just, it was a crime against music. And so whenever I hear Celine Dion, I go back to that moment. And yet even I was able to overcome my considerable biases to celebrate this moment.
Yeah, it was a hopeful story indeed. It's fairly understanding why it was in trending, especially if you maybe missed that moment and then suddenly you hear she's returned after all the stories. You'd want to participate in that even if it was after the fact.
Yeah. Oh, let us know what you think about it too, by the way.
8168 with the keyword Rima. That was a throw to me that I completely missed.
I tried to do the old point. If you're watching on the stream, you're going to see the point happen.
I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it.
No.
8168 with the keyword Rima.
Smooth.
Or, of course, on the stream, just leave a comment down below.
In the old Chatterino.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
The Chatterino. Goodness me. The things that happen when you commit to doing live broadcasting, everybody. But thank you for joining us on the stream, by the way. If you missed this part of the show, we are back live in studio, so you can watch along as well as listen along too. It's a whole point behind this show was to find a way of combining traditional media with new media. And so, yes, it's a radio show. Hopefully it's been entertaining enough for you just listening along. But take it next level. Maybe you can tune in and watch us as well, either on Facebook or on YouTube, right?
That's right. You can go right now to rima.co.nz, find all the links. Look, this is the first time that we've actually been in control of the stream. So from this end to you, if you are watching, if there's been a few hiccups, apologies. But, you know, we have committed to this because we believe it is the future of broadcasting. Yeah. We want to create the experience for you that you can engage with, not only listening, but also viewing as well, or either or, depending on how your day's going. But like Andrew has said before, and I've said before, we love you being involved in this in the show. So 8168 with the keyword Rima, or of course on the stream, just comment below in ye old chat.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Ye old chat or Chatterino? What do you reckon?
I said
ye old is good.
Ye old chat.
It's a nice combination of the old and the new, isn't it? Like ye old
together.
Beautiful, as Shakespeare intended. Let's continue to march through the headlines from the week that was. We're on Saturday still, in fact. But number 10, I'll be honest with you, this is entirely my fault, because usually if something gets to number 10, it's far enough out of the headlines that, you know, you've got to move on and pick something else. But it's not every day you get to play metal on Rima. So, ladies and gentlemen, for your listening pleasure, Gojira were number 10. We'll talk about why in just a moment. But here's a sample of their contribution, spoiler alert, to the Olympic opening ceremony. That's Gojira, a French metal band, performing at the Olympic opening ceremony. I mean, they had fire jets and everything.
I've got 2 moments to share with you.
Yeah.
One is, I feel for the poor, somebody is at home right now.
I know exactly where this is going.
Somebody is at home right now.
Yep.
And they like, oh, I should turn on Rima.
Yep.
I should tune into my favorite radio station.
Is it Joyce Meyer around this time? Let's listen to what Joyce is doing today.
Suddenly.
It's great to feel like you know the word straight away too, isn't it? Like, yeah. Anyway.
Very talented, I will say. But also, you couldn't, I don't know, you've not got eyes on the stream, do you?
Oh, no.
No. I did. If you were watching, and this is the benefit of watching, you get to see Andrew's enjoyment, his head banging. And I will say, I did just momentarily cut to just you for a good chunk of just.
And rightly so.
Yeah, just back and forth, enjoying Gojira.
I love it.
Why have they cropped up, though, in trending?
In trending? Well, because it's rather unusual, Josh, to have a heavy metal band like that. I mean, that's not your more accessible rock acts that you might otherwise have at these kind of events. As you can hear, I mean, Gojira are heavy metal. Like, that is pretty hardcore stuff. It actually sparked really interesting discussions about heavy metal at US sporting events and saying, for example, we can't even get, as some people have said, can't even get Metallica at the Super Bowl, who you could argue one of the biggest metal acts in the world. Though it also suggests maybe these days not quite as heavy as Gojira are. Early days of Metallica. Post-Black Album, of course, these days, a lot more pop-centric. That's a whole other conversation. The point is, why don't we get more heavy metal in the mainstream? All inspired by the fact that, again, Gojira performing at the Olympic opening ceremony.
Yeah, I didn't realize this was actually quite a big debate until we had the story crop up for trending, and so we did that bit of research. And I mean, this still exists in Christian spheres as well. We have a lot of
Christian metal.
Oh, we have plenty of Christian metal artists who are incredibly talented, who are much beloved in that genre, but it is maybe not the most accessible, is it?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I just figure if you can accommodate all sorts of different musical stuff. For example, we played Celine Dion, right? Just moments ago, Celine Dion. There's a large swathe of the population who hear those 2 words and think, nope. I'm out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'll be honest, any other context, if you had said to me, hey, bro, do you want to listen to some Celine Dion? The answer will be no.
Right. Do you want to go to the Celine Dion concert with me, Andrew?
I would rather pluck out my eyeballs. Thank you very much. Which wouldn't help me because, of course, you'd listen. So you'd be blind and at a Celine Dion concert.
That's why you got to watch the stream, by the way.
Exactly. We do the whole thing blindfolded. How's things going, by the way, in the old stream controls? I just thought I'd check live with you and see how that's been going for you with button pressing and managing all that stuff.
I think not too bad. I've put the overlay on a couple of times.
Oh, I see.
So if you've seen us just randomly disappear with Andrew doing his iconic trending
eyebrow thing.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my bad. I apologize. But look,
well, good on you, man.
Yeah, no, while you're listening and you're wondering what on earth we're talking about, if you want to understand, the minutiae, shall we say, you got to watch the stream.
Great use of that word, by the way.
Thank you.
Superb.
Watch the stream.
Yeah.
Rema.co.nz.
Yeah, exactly. There's a link there for the YouTube and for the Facebook. You can watch on either one of those platforms. What were we saying, though? Gojira, metal bands?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they're not as accessible.
Yeah, true.
And that has been usually the qualm. That is usually the reason they are not included in your bigger events like the Olympics, but maybe that is a stereotype that is being broken.
Maybe we need to put it to the people. Do you want to see more metal on the TV? Maybe get a metal band performing the New Zealand national anthem. What would that even sound like?
Oh,
surely.
Epic.
Surely that would be incredible. Let us know your thoughts on that. You can always get in touch either texting or in the chat today.
Yeah, 8168 with the keyword Rema. That's the familiar way, but maybe a little bit unusual. But if you're watching on the stream, you know exactly what to do. Chuck a comment down below in the chat.
Live on air and online. Trending with Andrew Curtis.
And I am Andrew Curtis, so welcome to the show. Also, thanks again, Josh Beatty, for joining me, my able-bodied and able-minded producer.
You're very welcome.
Great to have you back too, by the way. Had a couple of weeks of no Josh, so I know all those messages that flooded us. Where's Josh Beatty? Well, rest assured, he's here with us right now. Yes. Marching along through our headlines from the week that was, though, we'd got to Sunday. Simone Biles, would you believe another Olympic-related search term, Josh?
How on earth is the Olympics so popular? Who would have known it'd be such a big event?
Okay, true story. Yep. Are you watching any Olympics?
Live?
At all?
I did the women's sevens team.
Oh, yeah?
Congratulations to them. Taking away gold.
Gold medal today. Nice work.
That was awesome. That game against Canada.
Yeah.
Epic.
Cool.
Saw the highlights.
Yep.
On YouTube, but haven't been watching. I don't know how I engage live with the Olympics.
That's a good point.
I don't have free-to-air TV. Like, I don't have a normal. We have a TV, but we don't have like it connected.
There must be some kind of a stream somewhere, right? Or do you have to pay for that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think you have to pay.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay for the Olympics. I mean,
you reckon?
God, nah. Well, I mean, I haven't, so I've clearly proven that, haven't I?
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Did you pay for it?
No.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Another story, though, besides Simone Biles, who, by the way, did actually win a gold medal as well today. She's become the most decorated female gymnast in Olympic history.
She's insane as well.
Yeah.
Have you, there was her vertical, when she was on the floor performing and able to jump. It was like a record. I can't remember. I wish I could.
Sure.
Distance off the ground. And just, it is almost impossible it's just incredible. I just got to say, she's incredible.
Well, somebody who agrees with you is Snoop Dogg.
I noticed.
Which is always a good thing to be able to say. I'm with Snoop. So if you have a look on the stream right now, we've actually got a photo of Snoop Dogg reacting to Simone Biles performing at the gymnastics events in the Olympics. So clearly, I mean, he's made for reactions, though. I mean, look at that guy.
I mean, this image, which you can only see if you're on the stream, is rife for memes.
Oh, yes.
Is it not?
Good point.
Yeah. It's Snoop Dogg with his eyes kind of bulging, marveling at what Simone did. His glasses, taken off his eyes onto his forehead.
Yep.
The one I've come up with is the reaction here is when the pastor says, turn and say hi, and you're an introvert at church.
Yeah.
That's the reaction you give.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Now, we hinted at this one a little earlier in the show, but I had to rein Josh in all of his enthusiasm because Dr. Doom was the number 5 search term in the country on Sunday. Now, maybe for those outside of the Marvel universe, a less familiar name. Having said that, did anyone know who Thanos was before the Avengers? Let's be honest.
No.
Let's be honest. Most of us didn't even know that Iron Man was a real thing.
Iron Man was like a C-grade superhero.
Yep.
Until Marvel was basically scraping the bottom of the barrel and found gold when they cast Robert Downey Jr. and then He's now like the most popular superhero, or one of.
But is he still popular enough? This is the question, because, well, Robert Downey Jr. wasn't trending over last week, but Dr. Doom was. However, Josh, some believe there may be some kind of a coincidence here between these two. Why don't we take a look now at this clip from the San Diego Comic-Con from the guys behind the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and a bit of a reveal about Dr. Victor Von Doom and the upcoming Fantastic Four film.
The one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
That reaction, of course, Tony Stark. Victor Von Doom. Robert Downey Jr. It's all the same guy. So, hang on, he's got more to say.
If you could go back a little bit.
What did I tell you? I like playing complicated
that one line is quite
characters.
interesting.
Okay, here we go. Let's go back to this part.
We give you the one person
Shut up.
who could play Victor Von Doom.
I hate non-skip compliant or video. It's the worst.
Right.
Here we go.
Live stream?
Here we go, everybody. I wonder if it's still him. It's still him.
Well, wait for the comment. Wait for the comment.
New mask. Same task. What did I tell you? I like playing complicated characters.
Okay.
How nerdy do you want me to get?
As nerdy as you can, Josh. Wait,
Okay.
no, hang on a minute. No, I just realized what I'd said. Nerdy enough that the lay people of New Zealand can follow along with your nerdiness.
Okay, so let's just quickly rewind back to Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay.
That just recently came out, right?
Yep. That was
I'm
me
quite a
rewinding,
nerd.
by the way. Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I don't think you need to explain that.
That's a good point. You know what? I should back myself. You're correct. Carry on.
Okay, so new movie just came out. I took my wife along. She is not as invested as I am.
Sure.
So she hasn't seen all the TV programs, etc., like that. So Marvel these days is just full of cameos, and they've got alternative timelines and universes and stuff like that. And so she enjoyed the movie, but she was perplexed by a lot because it's so deep now, and you have to invest so much into all of the content
I
that
see
is
what you mean.
interwoven together.
To get all the in-jokes and the callbacks and the
Not even just
Easter
that
eggs.
now. Yes, that. But now it's becoming central to the storylines. It's becoming like the main plot that you need to follow.
Yeah.
If you don't know that one episode from that one TV show that was on Disney Plus.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and so I will
Not
say...
the Disney Plus, Josh.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing you can
We've
do.
got rid of Disney Plus because it's just not worth it anymore, but I'm feeling like I might have to get it back if I want to continue to invest in Marvel. All this to say,
Yep.
it's amazing that they're bringing Robert Downey Jr. back. It's maybe not surprising. The Marvel Universe has been floundering. The movies recently have been flopping.
Sure.
So they're scrambling to keep the golden goose alive, as you say.
It's a lot of verbs.
Yeah. His return should ensure that, but if you're an actual fan of like the comics and the stories and it's just, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you see, this is the thing that I've heard is conflicting feelings about this. On the one hand, because they are floundering, they're like, when did people last think we were cool? Robert Downey Jr. So
Bingo.
that's what they've done. But at the same time, I've seen people being like, really? Like, come on. There's a small contingent of people who are just diehard Robert Downey Jr. fans. And to be honest, I haven't felt for Robert Downey Jr.'s sake. He was starting to carve out a new niche in his own career. I mean, he was nominated for an Oscar for his role in Oppenheimer. Did he actually win?
I can do a quick Google.
Yeah, there you go. You do a quick Google. So all to say, he'd started to leave the whole Marvel universe behind. Then again, maybe they just dropped like $100 million on him and said, go on. And he was like, all right.
Yeah, I mean...
The things I would do for $100 million. I'm not proud of it.
No.
But nevertheless, people pointing out that...
He did, by the way, yes, win an Oscar, I believe, for Best Supporting Actor.
Yes, correct. So, he was making his way. So to throw himself back into the mix with all this stuff now, I don't know, man.
Because if you're not invested, if you didn't even know this, you might not be aware that his character and spoiler alert, by the way, but hopefully this is real old news. He died, he'd left, he'd hung up the non-existent cape.
Right.
And now...
Did he hung it up after he died? Because that's quite impressive if he did that.
Yeah.
Like, that's an impressive commitment to the bit.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
All right, let's leave Robert Downey Jr. in the past, shall we? And move on to the story that is electrifying New Zealand, everybody. Well, actually, no. No, it's not. And that is why I thought we'd bring back a little bit of a missing in action segment here. This one almost snuck by entirely over the last week. But if we do look at the search terms and those that were most popular on Monday, a name that only made number 20 was Darlene Tana.
This, I mean, we kind of understand that the Olympics are popular at the moment.
Yeah.
But the missing in action segment is when we surprisingly find a name that has not hit the main trends.
Yeah.
And this is one of those moments.
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, the main meat and potatoes of the story broke a little more than a week or so ago anyway. The finding that Darlene had been involved in her husband's business, at least according to the investigation that the Green Party had conducted, therefore was somewhat culpable for the migrant exploitation that had gone on, and therefore the Green Party leaders came together to say that, well, Darlene, it's time for you to go. Your behaviour is not in keeping with the values and principles of the Green Party. In fact, if you'd missed it, here's a little bit of throwback to the press conference when Chloe Swarbrick got up and broke the news to the eagerly awaiting New Zealand media.
Good. Oh, sorry, guys.
You're right.
That's such a Kiwi thing. You're right.
Yeah, right, mate.
Yeah, no, you're right. Come on, Chloe, take it away. We got places to be.
Go?
Good to go?
Sweet.
She was waiting for you.
Morena koutou katoa. I'm joined by Ricardo Menendez-March, our musterer, and Tiana Tuiono, the chair of our Te Mata Waka Māori and Pacifica Caucus. Yesterday, Green MPs discussed a pathway forward with our party around the issue of a former Green Member of Parliament who we believe is not fit to hold the position of a Member of Parliament, yet refuses to resign. Our party governing body, Konehera, after discussion with our party members, agreed to call a special general meeting on the 1st of September 2024. This special general meeting will discuss the potential use of provisions in the Electoral Act, colloquially known as party hopping, to determine whether our party will invoke the legislation in the case of Darlene Tana. Today, Marama Davidson and I wrote to Darlene Tana to inform them that it is our view that by resigning from the Green Party, but refusing to resign from Parliament, they have acted in a way that has distorted and is likely to continue to distort the proportionality of political party representation in Parliament as determined at the last general election. We advise them that they have 21 working days to respond to the matters raised in that letter. We also reiterated our clear request for them to resign from Parliament and, in doing so, drawing this matter to a conclusion. That, we believe, would be in the best interests of all involved. Sending notice to Darlene Tana through this letter is, as you all know, one of the requirements under the legislation. But I want to make it clear that we will not be taking further and the final step of writing to the Speaker to trigger the party hopping provisions unless we have the clear backing of our party to do so. Allowing for Darlene Tana's response to this letter while scheduling the special general meeting a few weeks away will mean our membership has the time to thoroughly consider this issue and discuss it throughout their branches, provinces and networks. It also means that they will have Darlene Tana's response, if they choose to respond, to inform our party's decision-making. I want to be clear that Marama Davidson has been fully involved in this process, and on Friday, Marama once again tried multiple times via phone, text and email to engage directly with Darlene Tana to ask for their resignation. As I have said many, many times, any decision to use the party hopping provisions of the Electoral Act will require in-depth discussions not only by our caucus but by the broader Green Party, consistent with our kaupapa and values and consensus decision-making. Our party's long-recorded concerns with this legislation have been the potential for concentration of immense power in political party leadership. As you can see, the process that we are following here is based on extensive engagement with the flax root of our membership.
Blah, 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 blah. So anyway, at this point, fascinating story as it continues to develop. And I mean, a few things about this too that I find quite remarkable. If you're wondering too what the whole deal is with this party hopping thing, also colloquially known as the waka jumping legislation.
Okay.
You don't know about this?
No.
So this goes all the way back to New Zealand first, and they had a contingent of Māori MPs who, if I remember rightly, pat myself on back for this one, formed their own party called Māori Pacific, led by Tau Henare. Man, this is all in my brain. I'm so pleased with myself. They bailed on the New Zealand First Party way back in the day, started their own whole side project, but at the time there was no contingency to kick them out of Parliament, even though they'd been elected under the New Zealand First ticket. So this legislation was drawn up that basically if this happens again, you can't just get into Parliament with one party, then leave the party, but still be holding that seat, because of course the proportionality of votes.
Oh, yeah,
would
no,
be,
it makes a lot of sense.
So the thing that makes this complicated for the Green Party is that they campaigned on the belief that this was anti-democratic. Yeah, and so that they would not use it. So now, of course, they're in a situation, and you heard Chloe there speaking about how we're only going to do this now if the rest of the party says that we should, and all that kind of thing. So they've painted themselves a little bit into a corner here after saying that, no, we don't believe in this at all.
Right.
But now potentially having to do it themselves. So that's part one of all this. But part two, absolutely delicious.
Okay.
Look, I'm trying to be mature about this one, but I found this nothing short of amusing, because allegations of racism have now been levelled at the Green Party of Aotearoa by, checks notes, the Green Party of Aotearoa.
I think. Sorry. Did you make a mistake? Did you have a bit of a stroke there?
No. So among other things, Chloe Swybrick was described by one of the leaders of the Māori and Pacific caucus within the Green Party as a fragile white woman, who then started to raise, and you might argue actually, some very salient points about how this is being applied to Darlene Tana when it was not applied to others. So this is an excerpt from a letter that was written, also displayed on waitea.news.com. It says this: a Green MP was filmed in Parliament being verbally aggressive and physically aggressive with another MP. How was that behaviour, talking about Julianne Genter, by the way,
yep.
How was that behaviour not a serious breach of our charter? Why is that MP still in office? Minimising her behaviour because an apology was given rings very hollow indeed, when both Wahine Māori women MPs were silenced. So we're also thinking back to Elizabeth Ruakere, I think it was.
Yes, correct. Yep.
And then, of course, now Darlene Tana. They were silenced, not allowed to be at Parliament, and left with no choice but to resign. Why were they so hypocritically held to this mythical standard of behaviour when others are not? At least in Darlene's case, an actual investigation occurred. That is a disgraceful waste of money, and the co-leaders should not speak of natural justice when the decision to force a resignation had already been made. Listen to this. Because members of the dominant culture are never impacted on a daily basis and in a myriad of ways by racism, the unjust deployment, whether conscious or unconscious, of power based on the assumed rightness of the whiteness, people of colour are often asked to explain what culturally unsafe means. They go on to explain why they believe the Green Party has become a culturally unsafe environment for Māori and Pacific people.
That is crazy.
Isn't that as mad as a bag of hammers?
Oh, wow. And that's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, like, there's some sense, at least, in that letter.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard it only for the first time, so I'm not, staking a flag in whatever's going on.
Sure.
But there is some points of common sense that does reflect in that letter.
Yeah. And yet, of course, at the same time, if the Green Party is not a safe environment for minorities, people of colour, or whatever it is, what hope does the rest of the world have? I mean, this is their thing. Like, this is their jam. This is who they are. It's how they contend with the rest of the world. So, I mean, there's a certain element where people feel, I don't know, a little bit of schadenfreude, because, of course, the accusations of racism have been thrown around for a while now. It's been a political football. You're a racist. No, it's like the Spider-Man meme. You know, the one where everyone's standing. If you don't know it, look it up. Spider-Man meme pointing. Josh and I are doing it right now. I'm imagining there's a third person with that microphone is there.
That's right.
This is why you join us on the stream, to see us reenact Spider-Man memes. Yeah, to see it now happen to the Green Party, someone's starting to speculate whether or not this means the Green Party is actually going to fracture now as well. They might have separate contingents once again of, say, Pacifica peoples or something like that. Or, just like Darlene Tana, will a number of the Māori members now join the Māori Party?
Well, that's interesting because then does that not loop back around to our party hopping debate?
This is me nodding emphatically.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, you'd cry if it wasn't so funny. Or maybe you'd laugh if it wasn't so sad. I don't know. Yeah. It's absolute farcical theatre is what it is. And so, I don't know. We'll see how this all resolves itself, if in fact it ever does. But that's all out the gate of Darlene Tana, still only managing to be the number 20 news story in the country. So does that suggest to us that as much as this might be amusing, the rest of the country does not care?
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
We've made it all the way through to Wednesday with a couple of minutes remaining. So why don't we take a look at some of the stories that are beginning to trend thus far. And it's great to see some normalcy starting to return to our trends because after all this time of seeing so many Olympics-related stories, the cricket's back at number one. As it should be. So,
because it's not in the Olympics.
No.
It just takes too long.
That's true. Well, they could do it 2020, though, couldn't they?
They could.
Or could they not?
I believe it has previously been in the Olympics as well.
Ooh, you might be right. So have I gone into my details about why I object to these sports being in the Olympics in these closing moments?
No.
I believe that the Olympics should be the crowning pinnacle of your sport. If it's going to be in the Olympics, it should be the biggest. So, for example, athletics, right? If you want to break the 100 meters record, you want to do it at the Olympics.
Yeah, right.
If you are the Olympic gold medalist in the 100 meters, you are the man or woman, as the case may be. However, there are plenty of sports, like, dare I say it, even though we won a medal in it earlier today, the sevens. You can't tell me the Olympics are the pinnacle event for sevens rugby.
I mean, we'll argue it now because we won twice in a row.
Right.
But you're right.
What about tennis? All right, you got Wimbledon, the French Open, the US Open, Australian Open. Yeah. That is the pinnacle of tennis.
Basketball.
There is already a World Championships for basketball.
Well, yes, there is. But the NBA is probably also where we're thinking, which is interesting.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother debate.
Right, exactly. Anyway. Yeah, so I just feel like if this is not the pinnacle of your sport, then it should not be in the Olympics. It should be
excluded from the Olympics.
Well, just what's the point of it? Like, to me, getting an Olympic gold medal, that is what you want. That's the big thing. Like, again, using the tennis example, if I said to you, you can be Wimbledon champion or you can have an Olympic gold medal, which one would you take? I would hazard a guess that
if I was a tennis player,
I would obviously, if you're a hockey player and I said, would you want a Wimbledon, that wouldn't make a lot of sense, would it, Josh?
I thought you meant like me as just like a normal individual who
everyday citizen.
But no, if I was a tennis player and I had just like somehow you could guarantee Wimbledon.
Yeah, absolutely right. In fact, as I say it, even more evidence to support my own claim, which of course are the perks of having your own radio show. When people are counting up the number of wins that a certain player has had to determine whether or not they're in the greatest of all time discussions, they don't count your Olympic medals. People just say how many Wimbledons, US, French, Aussie Opens you've won, tally them all up, and you end up with Novak Djokovic. Nobody says how many Olympic golds have you won because they don't care. So,
it's all about drawing the eye, right? That's really what it's like. That's the decision. Is that not the deciding factor?
I mean, I suppose.
What are the actual sports that are popular that people are going to? Not that we do this anymore, but tune in to watch.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe. I just like breakdancing, for example, has been included this time around.
It was actually, I don't wish to throw him under the bus, but it was George Pink who said to me, he's like, what old person on the Olympic committee was like, what do we need to make the Olympics cool again?
Oh, that's
hip
so
again.
True.
We need the breakdancers. Bring in all the kids who do the jive and the hip and the hop. And
Can we have a Charleston competition? No, I'm sorry, they don't do the Charleston anymore. What about the jive? No, we don't do the jive. The hustle? No. Scrambling for ideas is the Olympic Committee. But nevertheless, breakdancing, though, you might be pleased to know, not actually in our top search terms for the week. Who knows? Do we have a competitor from New Zealand?
In breakdancing? No.
Disappointing. I actually thought we could have done, to be honest.
Maybe.
Don't we tend to do pretty well with like world dance champs, things like that? Anyway, all that said, we've come to the end of the show. Would you believe it? Thanks to everybody who joined us once again on the stream. We are going to be back live streaming regularly from now on. Round of applause, if I may, for our very own Josh Beatty.
Oh, thank you very much.
For driving the show from his side of the desk today as well. So great to be able to do this with you as well.
Also, just got to fact check myself. We do actually have we did have some competitors in the breakdancing at the Olympics. So just after you've applauded me, I'd just like to make sure that I'm not
Nobody's
giving
perfect,
false
Josh.
information.
Nobody's perfect. That's all right. No problem at all. So, look, thank you, everybody, for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And, of course, next Wednesday, we'll be back with the live stream again, so you can watch along as well as listen no matter where you are, not only in Aotearoa, but in the world. You could be on the International Space Station. If you got internet access, you could be watching us there as well. Thanks again for your time today. Always a pleasure to spend this hour with you. We'll be back again for another episode of Trending next Wednesday. I'm Andrew Curtis. Have fun. Be good. See you next week.
Trending with Andrew Curtis. From the Ringma Media News Desk across Aotearoa.